All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV, where tonight we have the season finale, the championship race here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. Drivers putting on their qualifying laps as we speak to find out where they're going to start for the final race of the season. So, as always, 75 laps are scheduled distance, one fast pair for all the drivers, two Green White Checkers should they be needed, and also hearing about a 15-lap fuel window. So, a lot of pit stops going to be in store for tonight. So, and that 15 laps is going to be the magic number because that is going to be the exact number to make it without having to go that one extra stop. Of course, pending a timely or untimely yellow, depending on the drivers. So it's going to be a lot to go for here tonight. And I was saying that's going to probably be the kind of the name and the theme of the race here tonight is going to be that championship battle. And from what I'm looking at, I think at this point, it's probably almost guaranteed a 5-horse race, as you've got Gabe Butler with an 8-point lead over Dean Wilkinson, and then 10 over Jim, 11 over Ryan Decker, and 16 over Bud Steele. I think those are the drivers that are mathematically eligible just based on the car counts tonight. So I think we got about 12 trucks. So unfortunately, again, not as many as we'd be hoping for. However, again, mentioned though, it is a 5-point difference between first and second. So realistically, in my mind, it's going to have to be win the race and then see where that 88 falls in track to have a chance at this one. So that's going to be, I think, the name of the game here tonight for these guys. And again, looking at the drivers and the numbers and where they are, we're going to have about 3 over on the boot knocker side of things with Eric Laurie, Gabe Butler, Justin Davis. Got 4 over at TW with Bob Fitzgerald, Charles Johnson, Dean Wilkinson, and Tom Dixon. And then over at Roswell, you got Bud Steele, Jim Brooks, Quabi Brooks, Nick Wing, and Ryan Decker. So right now, say you have those of the teams. So you got 1 on the boot knocker side, you got 1 on the TW side, and then you've got 3 on Roswell. But again, right now, Roswell, unfortunately, is 3rd through 5th, whereas TW 2nd, and of course, Gabe with the boot knockers right now in P1. So, and again, there's no, I'm not going to say there's going to be full-on team orders or anything like that, but I mean, you know the teams are going to want to try to help their drivers out, see if they can help them get a championship. I mean, we've talked about it week in and week out with Gabe. I mean, he mentions all the time how it's a team. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. You can't do these things by yourself, so it'll be a lot of fun to see what's going on that one. So, Brandon, we got 75 more laps here tonight to decide who the championship's going to be. Get that trophy that, again, bet generously being offered up by our Ranger Creative Concepts. Do you think anybody's going to be able to topple that 88 truck here tonight?
I don't know if they'll be able to topple him, but they're going to have to put him in some weird situations, and maybe that's what's starting the ramping of the race up maybe a little bit earlier, and maybe pushing some things 3 wide. We know they got that fast repair in their pocket, and I wouldn't be surprised for these guys to get after it real quick and make the 88 drive hard all night.
Yeah, I think that's going to exactly be it. Is they got to work him, try to get him maybe a little bit out of his comfort zone, which again, I mean, it's hard to do. That guy is a bit of a monster. Also, again, got to bring up as well next Friday, so a week from tomorrow, we've got that Alcina Memorial Race coming up. So again, if you're interested, it will be next Friday, May 16th. The gates open at 8 p.m. Eastern, race at 8:30. And then it will be broadcasted over on Nerditudes, and saying they've got some really fun stuff. I was watching one of their broadcasts last night. They got some fun stuff over there. I'm excited to see them put that show on. Brendan and I are going to take part of that one as well to just, let's say, have a good time in remembering and honoring Al. And you can see the email up top there, rl.arlane0705@gmail.com. If you're interested, reach out to Everett, and that way he can get you rolling over there. So big again, thank you to those guys for getting that set up. And Brandon, it's time to get this thing rolling here. We'll pull up that starting grid for tonight. And on pole position is going to be Dean Wilkinson. Again, talked about Dean going to be starting second in the points. Right next to him, his championship competitor there, Gabe Butler, by 0.02 of a second. Then you got Tom Dixon, TW Motorsport teammate right behind Dean, right behind Gabe. Teammate there as well, Eric Laurie. Then you got Quabi Brooks and Ryan Decker, row number 3. Bob Fitzgerald, Bud Steele, row 4. Justin Davis, Nick Wing in the 5th row. And then Charles Johnson and Jim Brooks going to line up 11th and 12th, with Jim opting not to put down a qualifying lap here tonight. So with that, those will be the 12 trucks here, Brandon. And again, not a huge field here, so like that's why I was saying I think really it's the top 5 are the only ones realistically able to do so. And I said actually what I should be doing is doing the magic numbers for the math for Gabe. Again, with the 5-point difference for a win. Obviously, if we base it off of Dean, that'd be 5 points, and then you'd of course then have to go over to the tiebreakers, which right now it is 2 wins for Gabe, 1 win for Dean. And so if Dean were to win, that would put him at 2 apiece, and then I think it jumps to top 5s, which if that's the case, that actually would be where Dean has the tiebreaker. So yeah, there's a lot of potential opportunities here on this one tonight.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important throughout the season to finish well, because of things like this. You come down to these predicaments, and I mean, Dean's pushed the envelope all night or all year with the pit road entrance. So wouldn't be surprised for him to pull something like that out of his back pocket. But he's definitely got a good starting spot as the guys are starting to roll off here and getting ready to go green.
Yeah, getting that warm-up lap underway. And so, yeah, so it's 40 points for the overall race win, and then second place drops down to 35 points. So, again, with that 8-point swing, basically for Gabe, if he finishes 4th or better, no matter what Dean does, he would clinch the title. And if he drops to 5th, that would be that 8-point difference we just talked about, and that's where the tiebreakers come in. And so that would be where things possibly get a little bit trickier. And then again, as we move down the grid there, you got Jim Brooks 10 back, and then Ryan Decker 11 back. It's the same thing, just a little bit further back. So, for instance, for Jim right now, 7th place would be Gabe's magic number there, and then 8th place for Ryan Decker for Gabe. So pretty much for these guys that are on the outside looking in, really they want to see Gabe maybe fall around 10th or outside the top 10. That's going to be their best chance to try to jump that 88 in the points. But again, I mean, Gabe's not going to roll over anything tonight, but it's a lot of pit stops tonight, Brandon. Again, we talked about it, 15 laps in fuel, 75-lap race. I mean, we do the numbers. They're going to be on pit road a lot tonight. So in week in, week out, that's always a storyline.
Yeah, and the one thing that really is gonna pay into a lot of factor, I think, is Gabe. Not only he's got the experience and the wins, but he's really got to command that team tonight. He's got Eric behind him, also in his team. But the tin truck is new to all this, and the last thing the tin truck wants to do is ruin somebody's championship. So he's really got to. He's not only got to be a driver tonight. He's kind of got to be, the leader of this whole team and get everybody where they want, because everybody's coming at them. And if with only having 3 trucks, if you come down pit road with only 2, that can ruin your whole night, and that can put these guys exactly where they want Gabe.
Yep, exactly right. And it's going to be pretty much it's going to be a 4-stop race if they can hit those 15 laps each time. That's going to be the plan. It's going to be a 4-stop race for all these drivers. So again, 12 drivers taking part in tonight's event as they hit that restart zone, and we are underway for the final race of the season. Dean Wilkinson, Gabe Butler leading that front row.
Yeah, good start there by Eric and Gabe on that outside 2 trucks. You see how much room they put on Bud, and Gabe immediately saying, hey, I'm getting to the bottom. I'm going to lead this race, and I'm going to have control of it. So everybody else, hey, you're going to have to do something on the outside.
Yeah, and so, but now you look the gap, though, from now Eric Laurie, he's dropping back, and he's got 2 teammates behind him now, the 55 Dean Wilkinson, the 411 teammates with Dean Wilkinson with Tom Dixon there. So this could be, again, that opportunity. Do we see Dean or Tom jump to the top? But again, though, a long race here, a pretty small fuel tank, so maybe this is one of those ones where it's like, hey, let's let Gabe run up front, let him burn all that fuel off, because then we can take either maybe pit when he doesn't take less fuel, or maybe try to do that overcut where you run a little bit further and try to kind of put him in a tough spot. So again, strategy is going to be a big part of this one tonight. And also got to wish a very good evening and a happy early Mother's Day to Caitlin. So I hope you are doing well. And yep, I'll say definitely cheering Ryan on, see if he can get that championship like we mentioned. So it's going to have some bad luck from Gabe, but pretty much like I said, the 48, the 51, as well as the 6 trucks, they're going to have to win. I mean, that's and the 55 too. They're just going to have to win. I think that's the only way this happens.
Yeah, and if I'm the 51 truck, I got a load of confidence. The same thing with the 48. Roswell has been the best team all year on and off pit road, And this track, it means the most. And in my eyes, especially with this race and the caliber of what comes with it. And just like you talked about, you're going to have to split these guys up. And with the 88 leading, that gives you control where you can break off immediately and come down, and why they stay out and have to lose that time. So I think the 51, as we see Eric right there, that's that teammate work right there, got to be just a little bit better. But the Roswell group, I think this is where they shine, and Jim and those guys just not out of it just yet.
No, exactly right. Now I'm already watching where they're at. So you've got Bud Steele right there in the 6 truck behind him, Nick Wing, then Jim Brooks. And then in between a couple of them, you got Bob Fitzgerald in the 08, and then he's got Quabi Brooks right in front, and then there's Ryan Decker. So they're already lined up on the inside. They're all cruising single file here early, of course. And same right now, Bob Fitzgerald obviously in the 08 doing similar. But yeah, I was a little curious about Eric Laurie rolling out there. But in doing so, that's now opened up Justin Davis. Again, you talked about him. Obviously, his first full season over here, also making the playoffs. So again, just a great initial season for him, inaugural season to start off things. Looking forward to seeing what he has, again, as he gets more comfortable and more familiar with the drivers and everything too. So, and he's getting all the help he can get from that 9 of Charles Johnson. But again, the things that I'd be watching, though, is watching how aggressive these guys are drafting and where they're pushing. Are they opening that space up? Because we talk about it, Brandon, week in and week out, is they still got to manage those temperatures. You can't get too gritty. I mean, Charles, I feel like, has been really locked on Brandon for a couple of laps here. He's going to start to watch that oil and water gauge because those will get hot.
Yeah, and you hit the nail right on the head, Gael. I think we've seen it all year, these guys letting guys in and letting up. Tonight, I don't think that happens, and that's no disrespect. Right here is, you got it right there is Charles. That was a big move. You're gonna have to make them moves tonight, because people are going for a championship, and the friendly stuff, no, it's out the window. You came here to win. You didn't come here to make friends. It's win, get the championship, and do what's best for your team. So have to be aggressive.
Yeah, and that's also now put the TW drivers now all lined up with the 55, leading the 9 truck, leading the 411 truck. So all the 3 TW drivers, they're all locked on together. Like I said, the one that's not quite there yet is Bob Fitzgerald, but again, Bob started a little further back, so he's just kind of on cruise control here. But now we watch to see, you talk about the pace, and if you maybe try to back it down and let somebody in. We'll see if they let him. We'll see, can Justin Davis and Eric Laurie, can they kind of tag on here and see if they can jump around the 88, get in front of their teammate there. But again, if Dean Wilkinson does what he's doing right now, and he's really just kind of shoving that number 88 truck further forward, he'll pretty much prevent that from happening, getting that 10 truck alongside or around him. So Dean's also, he's got some interest in this here as well, Brandon. Like I said, the more that they can keep him side by side, Gabe's burning more fuel, his teammates are kind of separated from him. That's just going to make life harder for those 3 trucks.
Yeah, and I think this is where Gabe is really going to miss Everett. Everett not making the playoffs, but Everett had 3 top 5s, and a lot of them came from pushing the 88. And I think that's where Gabe is really going to need the help, because Justin and Eric, they're full throttle. Both of them are. Them 2 trucks, to hang on that outside, you have to be full throttle. You can't pace it and keep up the way they are. So that whole team is burning a lot of fuel right now, as these other guys sitting behind them are just sitting here riding. And Charles Johnson not in the mix of the playoffs neither, but he's won this year. So a lot of things going right so far for the TW guys.
Yeah, no, exactly right. They're lined up nice. Like I said, the one that's not there yet is Bob Fitzgerald. But again, Bob's like 2 trucks back in the same lane. So yes, I mean, we pretty much got that inside train that we talked about, minus of course the 10 truck and the 071, and again, just that's going to be what tie it is. It's going to be all about the strategy and the pace, because right here as we cross line, we're going to already be halfway through this first fuel run. So again, that tells me that these trucks here, like I said, I think the 88, the 10, and the 071, they'll be the first ones to pit. The question mark is going to be after that, do we see others pit with them, or do they say, hey, this would be an opportunity, let's let it just be the 3 of them pitting, maybe we can break them and we can go ahead and try to pit a little bit, maybe that 1 lap later. And again, we got the numbers with these guys. Like I said, TW's got the 4 trucks, Roswell's got, I believe, 5, and then obviously the 3 over on the Bootknocker side. So if any of these teams falter during the pit stop, they lose a driver, lose that extra draft partner, that could spell the end of this race, especially, again, if they maybe come in a lap or two earlier where they don't have that outright pace. So strategy and execution, that's going to be the name of the game here tonight.
Yeah, most definitely. And if we see that happen immediately, I think the Roswell and the TW guys automatically click in their head that, hey, we cruise until the end. We have to keep these guys. We cannot let these guys get a caution or anything like that to let them come up. And that's not just the Roswell and TW. We're just using that for an example with Gabe being up front and them guys needing him to finish in the back. So that's where you gotta just count all your blessings when they happen, and for the 88 and those guys, they have to execute like you were just saying. They cannot make a mistake. We've seen this year they've made some mistakes as a team, and they've kind of been bailed out a little bit to late cautions, allowing them to catch back up and really be at the right place at the right time. And at this track, with the number of trucks we have, it's just so much unlikely. And the apron is about the same size as the race surface, so you rarely see a caution if anything happens coming to pit road. So as you said, zero mistakes can happen, as we see Eric seen a spot and he jumped immediately.
Yeah, and I'll see if Eric's going to, you can see already he's trying to check that bottom lane up here to try to get the 10 in. But you can see that wasn't going to happen. If they do, it's just going to be a huge stack up, and I don't think it's going to succeed. So yeah, and you can see right there. So now it's going to be the 10 here of Justin Davis. Can he find an opening? Tried to get in front of Ryan Decker. That gap closed too quickly. You'll see Quabi Brooks. He's getting a little bit too tight as well here. And again, these aren't really, I say this is a tough one because, like I said, you race, like you mentioned, Brandon, like you can't be nice anymore. You got to get everything you can. So the more you can separate these guys, the better. And so that's what we're going to have here, is we're going to have that train. He's going to pop in, should be able to pop in right here in front of Bob. And yeah, there you go. So now you're going to get that inside line. And so again, this now brings to the next part of the strategy on this one here, Brandon, is you're looking further back. You see Bud Steele, Nick Wing, Jim Brooks. They are at the back of the train. They're just about over a second back, 1.07 to 1.3 for Jim. At some point, you don't want to pit from that far back. You're going to want to make a charge and say, okay, they're going to be pitting in 2 laps, 3 laps. Now's the time. Let's make the big move to try to pit further up the running order, because again, if you're pitting that 1 second behind, if you have any little mix-up, that's just going to slow things down. So I think, again, those guys, they're going to have to start thinking about when to make that move, when to kind of just crack the whip a little bit and try to pit from a few spots further forward.
Right, yeah, that or maybe I'm thinking we've seen them kind of sometimes this year go maybe just a lap or two longer than everybody else, and with the gap, I think that could be a little bit of their strategy maybe come into play also. But yeah, we have seen when these guys stack up, the guys in the back move to the outside, and coming back to that Justin Davis move and Eric move, them guys aren't gonna let them in. They do not want teammates to be together when they come pit, as we see 2 to 3 cars in between each teammate, and that's where that aggressiveness comes in. And with Justin pitting way back there now, that separates him, like you said, up to a second. And if you come out and you're not organized and you lose the draft that way, that can beat you also. Not just making a mistake, just not being able to get back up to speed with the rest of the group.
Yeah, and that's where, like you said, I mean, execution is going to be 100%, and so then it's going to turn into the strategy. We saw last week at Atlanta. I mean, Dean Wilkinson and Charles Johnson. I mean, they put on a clinic. That was one of the most impressive jobs I've seen from a 2-truck combo at that track, where they were able to work the tire strategy and the fuel and just run away from a giant pack with just the 2 of them. So it was incredibly impressive what they were able to do there last week. They tried to kind of redo the same thing on Sunday night, but the tire wear was too great, so they couldn't really replicate it. But now you're at Talladega. Tires aren't an issue. Now it's going to be, I think, just what do you got to do to have the shortest pit stop? So to me, that means probably a lot of fuel-only stops. I don't even think you take 2 at this point, unless maybe a caution. I think it's fuel-only. If it's a green flag stop, you don't even touch the tires. You say, nope, not taking the risk. I'm just leaving it, just fuel, and then rolling out. Because I don't think there's going to be enough reason to adding tires and maybe adding that. Even if it's a half second, I think that's going to be too much to add. You just don't want to take that gamble.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. No tires, no, unless there's a caution. This thing's getting fuel only. So you, like you said, you got it. Time is everything. 1 second to a second and a half, or right side tires, you've lost the draft and you're not going to catch up. And you're going to be coasting around and putting yourself, and not only yourself but your team, in even more of a bad situation come the time that they need you. And this is where teammates are, even if you're not in the running for a championship, you mean a ton to your teammate. And so you do not want to make a mistake. The pressure's not only the guys in the championship, but their teammates that's not, because without them, they can't get it done. And speaking of teammates, I think should be right around the corner of pit stops, and we're going to see who's got all their eggs in a basket and lined up.
Yep, so now it's going to be, like I said, the strategy time. So we just crossed the 15 mark, so that answers the question on the fuel. And there you go. I already saw them pop out there, the 48 and the 53. They've lined up together, said, all right, we know pit stops are probably about to happen. Let's see if we can gain some track position here before the cycle completes. So I think we'll see the 88, the 071, and the 10. I think they all come in together this time around. But then I'm watching the 9 and the 55. Do they come with them? Yes, they do. So here's the first group together, and it's going to be the boot knockers as well as as well as TW. And again, Dean Wilkinson leaving no room for error there, just completely sending in. And again, saw a lot of lockup, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to really hurt them. So we'll keep an eye, make sure all these drivers now hit their pit stalls well. That's going to be the next important job. And just hoping to see no reverses going. Oh, Charles Johnson, I think he missed his pit box because he's just driven right on through here. So that's going to be one less truck, but they have the benefit of still having the others with them. So there's the 55. He's got Gabe Butler, and he's got Tom Dixon, Eric Laurie. And so they're all pretty close to each other. I'm a little nervous about Justin Davis. That might be a little too far. But now we go to the Roswell guys. Do they react? Yep, here they come. They're going to come in immediately, that one extra lap. And then you can see the stagger. Everybody's starting to space off of each other. Make sure they give each other enough room. Looked nice and calm for those 5 trucks here as well.
Very, very good entrance by both of these groups. Maybe a little bit of hiccup there on the 9. Don't know exactly what happened there. But like you said, the 10, I hope he can stay with this group, because that group's really, really, really going to need him, as the 51 overshoots his pit box.
Yeah, that's going to be a big reverse there for him. So he's going to lose some time. You can see everybody starting to roll already. And you can see now he's just barely rolling. So this is where now on the team side of things, they need to decide what they're going to do, as the 53 is going to be the first out of pit road. Then you got Ryan Decker, Bud Steele, Nick Wing. But Jim is, as I say that, oh my goodness, we're going to have a caution from that one. Spun the tires on the exit. Huge wreck, unfortunately. And went back to go check where he was. And yeah, just try to get too greedy on the throttle there. And unfortunately caught, I believe it's going to be Tom Dixon and Bob Fitzgerald for sure. And then not sure if Eric Laurie got through it or not as well. But oh my goodness, that was a huge hit. And yeah, I mean, we'll watch here and we'll see. I think Brandon it's just gonna be just throttling up, probably a little bit too much throttle, just trying to catch everything you can. And then you'll see here as he starts to grab a gear, there's the rear end stepping out, tries to correct it to keep it pointed straight, but then what happens is, we've seen all far too many times, is then it catches, and then at that point it's just gonna throw the truck, unfortunately, right across the path of traffic. And there's the 88 that was sitting on, just get by. Dean Wilkinson just sneaks by. And actually, double check, just Eric. Oh my goodness. I mean, Jim's on top of the 08 truck there for a moment. And so, yeah, a number of trucks unfortunately involved. Pretty much a guaranteed fast repair for the 51. And again, that's just I want to say desperation, but just they know they've got to get everything they can. And just unfortunately, it was just too aggressive of an exit, had that mistake, and unfortunately caught a couple of drivers. So we'll jump back live here. I think we'll see a lot of trucks go ahead and hit pit road. Timing of the caution does keep the 53 now on the lead here. So what we will do here in just one moment is
Charles
have
Johnson is thanking the racing gods.
Yes, that's a big break for Charles there. So yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, won't see a lot of strategy. I think we'll see a lot of drivers topping off here though, Brandon. So we'll take a quick advantage of this, take a quick break, and say, because again, they're racing for a trophy, and that is courtesy of Ranger Creative Concepts. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I feel like I'm afraid to say how I feel, to know I let you down. These late nights turn to days. don't wanna let you down. With each breath we give away, it'll never be the same. I'm chasing somebody who won't ever ease the pain, but I don't want half of your heart, heart, heart. You can have it back if it's only half of your heart. If it's only half of your heart. I feel like I'm afraid are the only things I can't change.
All right, so light's not off the pace truck yet, so they're going to come back around here to get the one to go. Brandon, probably a lot of drivers topping off, I would suspect, here as well. Again, in my mind, there's no reason really not to go ahead and take advantage of it. Just get that every little drop of fuel you can. But yeah, like you mentioned, though, huge break for Charles Johnson, because at that point, he's just going to be riding around until he gets caught by the leaders and put a lap down. So great break for him. Unfortunately, obviously, we saw a couple of those guys involved. I'm not sure. I'm wondering, Eric Glory, either that truck got all fixed up or possibly a fast repair went in on that one, because it's looking very shiny. Because I'm comparing his truck to Bob Fitzgerald, and Bob's has still got a lot of kind of road debris and everything on that. Not sure if that's maybe from the paint scheme or not, but either way, they're all heading back in. Unfortunately, Tom Dixon got the worst for wear there. I think he may have had to take a tow, but I know, Brandon, you were looking back at the incident exiting pit road. I mean, what did you see on that one?
Yeah, and under the yellow, that apron it's just slick. They put marbles down there. They make it realistic as they can, and so when these guys are coming in at 185, 190 mile an hour, as we've seen them, they're locking them up. So iRacing tries to keep this as realistic as possible. So if you was to do that, you would do what they call as flat spot your tires. And so as you're coming out, them tires are still flat spot, and as Jim's trying to hustle, because we just talked about before we came to pit road that these guys cannot lose the pack. The race is over if they do. Jim, unfortunately, I think overshot his pit box to start, and then he lost it a little bit, so he's got to hustle to make sure he stays with this pack. And when you shift and you're gas it up just a little bit too quickly, that's what exactly will happen. It will come around on you, and you can't save it. And unfortunately, some guys was collected, but that's why we give these guys a fast repair, fix them up, come back out. And if anybody benefits from that, I think it's the 88, because I seen the 411 go down a couple laps. That keeps him further from losing position. So some people could think that maybe Jim did it on purpose, but if it punished anybody in the long run, it punished the 51.
No, I say, obviously, knowing him fairly well, being my dad and all, that's gonna be one of those situations. He's gonna be very upset with himself, and that's the thing. We're all our worst critics, our harshest critics, but yeah, you're exactly right. So right now, as it stands, if we were to stay green the rest of the way, Tom's not gonna get those 2 laps back. So it's almost one of those things where now Gabe's got one less spot to worry about, so he doesn't have to worry about 12th anymore. He can focus on just trying to get, again, now 11th to be the worst he could do. So, and again, all of this is if someone in those top 5 spots can win the race, to see if that's enough to do it. So, like I said, I think 4th or so is going to be the magic number. And since everybody topped off here, Brennan, we're going to have a complete single file restart here, as it's going to be that number 88 leading the field here to the restart. And it's going to start lap number 21 here at Talladega. And again, still should be 3 more stops to get to the end of this one.
Yeah, very good start there by those front three guys. You seen they gained a little bit of gap, and I wouldn't be surprised if even if you see the 55 and the 9, their teammates, if they jump out and try to get ahead of the 88. 88 has no help, except Justin's about 6th or 7th, and Eric a little bit further back. So these guys try to maybe capitalize on this moment while Gabe's by himself and has no help.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, and again, though, I still think there's a lot of just the fuel strategy still occurring, too, where they don't maybe feel like, nah, we don't need to push too hard to yell. It's just kind of the same thing. Just let him keep burning the fuel. Again, that way he's going to, A, have to pit earlier, and then B, if we pit same lap as him, we'll be able to take a little less fuel as well. So, yeah, so, I mean, that's going to be the question marks. And yeah, I say, Caitlin, there's definitely going to be some that are happy that he got through. There's others like, oh man, you almost had it. Come on, just go ahead and give us that little bit of issue for the 88. So, but knowing Ryan's gonna want to try to beat him heads up. That's just how Ryan is, of course. So, yeah, it's gonna be fun to see. And got to say good evening to Jasper, popped in over here. I know you've been chatting with him a fair bit as well, Brandon. So, but right now the little breakaway from the top 4, not a lot, but Buds looks like he's rolling back here, just trying to save every drop of fuel he can in that 6 truck.
Yeah, I think some guys have now that was maybe collected in that. I thought was going to chill out just a tad bit, but 2 of the guys we've seen, the 411 and the 071, they're going to head right back up there and try to be aggressive. As for the first time tonight, we're going to see some maybe 3 wide racing.
Yeah, I think Tom, and I actually like this idea from Tom Dixon. Unfortunately, you see he got hung out there, but what Tom can do here, and I think what he would love to have happen here, is if he can get around these guys, be the tail end of the lead pack, he would go from being 2 down to the tail end of 1 down, and if there was a caution to come out, he would actually basically net 2 laps back in 1 shot. So there's a lot at play here for Tom Dixon that can put him back in the running to try to win this race here. But it's all going to first have to be to get around that 88 truck, which you can see right now, once more here, we've seen these 2 do it on the first run, the 10 and the 071, trying to get locked on, see if they can try to push that 88 truck, or push ahead of the 88 truck, I should say, to then try to slot down in front of them. But once more, though, you can see the second truck in line on the inside. Last time it was Dean Wilkinson, the 55. Now it's going to be that 9 of Charles Johnson, and Charles is just going to shove him for all he's worth to try to make sure that he does not let Justin and Eric jump ahead of their teammate.
Yeah, and I think that's where it came in. We talked about with Gabe, he's going to have to be more than a driver today. He's really going to have to take control of that team and tell these guys, when he needs help and when to kind of push the issue. And we could see Eric started in the back just in about midway, and they linked up immediately and got up there. And I'm 100% with you. I don't see Charles getting off the back of Gabe's bumper and letting him in or anything like that. They're going to make it as difficult as they can on that outside for those 2.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And so let's say, reading over the chat, so the driver that crashed in, so the 51 is the one that had the incident. All these cars do have 1 fast repair, so if the damage is too much to repair manually, because of course you can opt to get damage repaired, but in that case you can see the smoke, that was a blown motor. That's, I think, usually minimum of a 30-minute repair. So what you can do is in iRacing, you could have a fast repair if the server allows it. In this league, we do allow 1 fast repair. And so basically now, though, that's the mulligan gone. So if he gets involved in another wreck, at that point, that truck's going to either be done for the night or he's going to just have to try to get it repaired manually as best as possible. As you can see right there, I think Eric and Justin trying to get the temperatures in check. You can see them kind of staggering off each other. I think just we're getting a little bit too hot there. And then, and so unfortunately, though, for us, though, Brandon, we don't know for sure when they get fast repairs. There's a couple that are very obvious when the motors pop, but there are other ones you don't know if it was maybe they were able to get it repaired on their own or if they went ahead and pulled one. Like Tom Dixon, I'm pretty sure also a fast repair on that 411 truck. And then Eric Laurie involved, and we did see he had some lengthier stops, so I'm thinking probably went ahead and got it repaired manually. But it's that risk versus reward. Do you want to save that fast repair for later, or do you risk that damage maybe not being fully repaired?
Yeah, and I think a race like this, you take it immediately. I think the cautions are really going to be minimum. What we've seen happen rarely happens. When it does is in situations like that. During the regular season, you don't really see guys hustling as much because it's like, okay, it's going to be a little bit of a longer race. But with the situation, I take that fast repair immediately. I got to give my team, or if I'm in the running, the best opportunity possible. And if I risk not taking that fast repair and I'm slow, I lose the pack and I'm already going to go a lap down anyways. So we really see it affected in the Sunday League with the Gen 4 cars because the damage model is just a little bit different than it is here in these trucks, and sometimes it doesn't look as bad, and we see guys try to stick it out and they lose tremendously. Is Justin and Eric still trying to make that outside lane work?
Yeah, they're definitely doing all they can, but like I said, Charles isn't going to make it easy for him, so he's keeping that pressure on the 88, but what I saw from that first run, though, is they opted to go ahead and pit at the same time. So I think it's one of those things where, again, I think they're keeping that competition in their, basically with them. That would say, okay, hey, if they come in, we come in. And that way they just kind of keep that strategy going versus at this point, I don't think they want to try to break that pack yet. That might be one of those moves where it's like, okay, let's save it for the last pit stop or maybe even two from it. So it'll be fun to see at what point do we see that different strategy kind of come into play. So we did see, obviously, that the first stop, it was TW and the Boot Knockers. They came in together, and then the Roswell drivers all went that one extra lap. And with everybody topping off as well, everybody's on the same fuel window, so shouldn't see any crazy strategy on that front as well. I think it'll just be that one lap difference on those. The other thing to mention is if you are interested in maybe hopping back over and doing some super speedway racing, this series is going to be switching over to Friday nights. So the Thursday series is going to swap over to Friday, and I believe the vehicle's staying the same. So I believe Friday nights will still be with the trucks, and then Sunday is going to stay with the Gen 4 cars, is from what I'm gathering is the official info. But again, though, we'll have more as we get through the off season. Some info will be sent out. If you are interested, you can find the website at area51iracing.com to check out more details, and all the races will once again next season be broadcasted here on Green White Checkered TV. So yeah, definitely, if you're interested, feel free to check it out. We always love to get some new names, new faces, and try to enjoy some plate racing. And as I said, it's a fun little community to have. Like I said, there's competitiveness, of course, but at the same time, a lot of these guys just kind of become good ways to become friends and make some new acquaintances, and it's a good time. There's days I definitely miss being on track, Brandon.
Yeah, I look forward, even still now broadcasting about racing, I look forward to Thursday and Sunday nights because you were always going to have a good time and you were going to enjoy yourself. It's not like hopping into a ranked race or unranked race on iRacing and running a super speedway where it's chaos the whole time. It's really structured here. I still say it's some of the best drivers on iRacing, and it produces every time we race. And I like the admin staying with the vehicles next season. We've seen the Gen 4 in the trucks put on great shows, especially even last week. We seen something we never even seen here at Area 51 with Charles and Dean and what they were able to do and with their strategy and how bad the tires wore with the trucks at that race. So hats off to the admins. They seen great product and they stuck with it, and I'm excited for Friday nights next season.
Yeah, no, it'll be a lot of fun. I can tell you as well that we've been kind of same thing. I've been kind of part of some of the discussions. Going to be working on adjusting some of the setups because there's a few things where they feel like, okay, if we make this adjustment, it can put on some better racing. As you see right there, Eric Laurie and Quabi Brooks almost making contact with one another there out of two. So a little bit of a close call. And again, that's just, you can see right there, that's because Eric was trying to find a way to get down and couldn't quite get in front of the 51. So now we'll see, can Justin hop in front of Eric? Yes, he will be able to pop in line there as well because, Brendan, we are approaching that window one more time, probably about 4 to 5 laps away from it. So we can do, though, great opportunities. We get to show off our drivers and their vehicles here. And we'll kick it off with our race leader, our championship leader. That is that number 88 of Gabe Butler. Started on the front row, currently up to the front spot. Behind him, Charles Johnson. That was the big story so far tonight, is missing his pit stall, but able to go ahead and go around, getting that timely caution back onto the lead lap. And then right behind him, our pole sitter for tonight, the 55 of Dean Wilkinson. As I say right now, Dean sitting solidly in third. Behind him on track, Tom Dixon, the 411 truck, is still currently 2 down. But again, though, still plenty to go in this one. Strategies could play out in his favor. And then in fourth, the 53 truck of Quabi Brooks there. And then rounding out the top 5 is that number 10 of Justin Davis. Then his teammate right behind him, 071 of Eric Laurie. And yet, so you did not read that sponsor wrong. That is Juan Deere, not John Deere. There's some mid-season sponsorship changes for that truck. And then you got the Navy F-150 of Bud Steele there in the 7th spot. And then, of course, the family favorite DFC, Decker Fried Chicken. Caitlin claims to know nothing about it, but I don't know. I think she's just playing it coy. Right now, Ryan's sitting in 8th again. Just right now, I think we're still sitting on the strategy side of things. And that number 51 truck of Jim Brooks sitting in the 9th position. And then rounding out our top 10 is Nick Wing in the 28 Havoline truck. And then last car in the lead lap, or last truck in the lead lap, I should say, is that 08 of Bob Fitzgerald. Right now, again, I think Bob's just kind of on cruise control here at the moment. So we'll see more from Bob. And again, for him, I think it's going to be all about the pit stop, though, because right now he is the last truck in this lead pack here. So we'll have to keep an eye and see, can Bob kind of hustle that thing into pit road and gain some track position? Because this is that spot that I don't like to be, Brandon. I'd say he's about 1.3 off the lead. So you're coming in that over 1 second deficit when you start to hit pit road.
Yeah, I always liked the run back there because it was the safest. I felt like I could avoid everything, but I felt like I lost the draft a lot, and it really cost me a lot of times. And I'm with you. It makes me nervous being that last truck, because if you make one little bit of a mistake, you can really lose the pack and end your race and pray for a caution, as we see somebody coming to pit road here by themselves.
Oh, yeah, that's Tom Dixon. I wonder if he couldn't top off with those guys because he had the tow. So, yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that one to see if that makes any difference there. So that's going to be a tough one for him because, again, with him coming in by himself, it's just I think he's going to lose the draft in this whole cycle. But, again, if these guys come in this time around, it could still be a possibility for this to pan out for them. So, and again, they are also now slightly better in the window because, again, we're talking about them pitting around lap 15, then 30, then 45, then 60. We're on lap 35 now, so they got a little extra wiggle room. But you can see, though, I think we know pit stops are about to happen because look at Bud Steele, look at Ryan Decker. They have latched on. They're trying to get all the track position they can. And, yep, here they come. That's going to bring a bunch of these guys in one more time. That's going to be, again, looks like the same group here. You got the Boondockers, you got TW, and then you're also going to have one of the Roswell trucks there as well, with Jim Brooks opting to hop in with them here also. And so that is going to be, 7 trucks here coming in together. That'll leave 4 of the other trucks of Roswell in together. And let's see if everybody hits their stalls nice and clean so far. Did not see any reverse. I see a lot of left side tires going on here, Brandon.
Yeah, that means these trucks, if they're taking left side tires instead of fuel only, it tells me these trucks are starting to get just a tad bit uncomfortable to drive, just a little bit maybe in traffic. I like the 51's move here to come back with this pack with his other team staying out, just in case the pack in front of him, as we see the rest of his team coming out of pit road. Maybe just in case, maybe we seen that second pack lose that little bit of a gap, so we seen him come in last, be last in that pack, and maybe he can be that bridge if needed.
I would say normally yes. However, I think he's having a tough time there in that 51 trucks. He's just getting on with Tom Dixon. We talked about getting in by himself. Here come the other trucks from Roswell hopping on pit road. And now you see the 08 there, Bob Fitzgerald rolling out. That is due to a pit penalty for him. And look at the angle the 53s and should be fine, but he's going to have to try to roll out there. And yeah, so here you go. These 4 trucks coming out really nicely organized here. Now, we saw before, though, they got to make sure that they get through the gears nice and clean. As soon as they say that again, this time it's the 6 truck that has the issue. And he's going to try to get to the apron just in time there. So we will stay green, but identical situation to what we saw from the 51 truck. And so very interesting to see. And here you go, though. Can these 3 now, can they keep up with these guys there? Because I don't know. Ryan Decker here, I don't know if he and Quabi Brooks, can they catch this trio of Gabe Butler, Dean Wilkinson, Charles Johnson? Because it's already grown over a second. They're going to have to push extremely aggressively here to get back into this group?
Yeah, I just went back and took a peek at the 6. The 6 did not take tires, so that was once again coming in hot and flat spotting them tires and trying to get back on it and throttle up just a little bit too quick. And we seen that's just what can happen. Is this group right here is nicely formed up. We got like a little 5-car group here as they got to run down that first group there in front of them. I think they got about maybe a second and a half, 2 seconds on them, so they're really going to have to hustle.
Yeah, no, exactly right. So now this is where, right now the 53 pretty much just has to push the 48 as hard as he can. Nick Wing's goal is to be basically as tight to the 53 as he can. But I can tell I'm watching the timing and scoring is starting to go back the right way from Ryan Decker to Charles Johnson. It's gone to about 1.5 seconds overall to the lead. And this is going to make a big gain right there. You saw Dean pop out there for a second. That's going to give a ton of tow. Just that little separation. So yeah, so we're gonna get back to 8 trucks in this lead pack. They're about to put Bob Fitzgerald 1 down. As we saw, he had that 40-second hold for his pit penalty as we just crossed the halfway mark. And the one thing that I was watching, we talked about the 51 opting to go ahead and pit with those other guys. Normally, yes, perfect move for him. Problem was he took the right side tires, not left side tires. And that's what did it in for him, because his pit stop was 11 seconds long compared to everybody else and being in the 8-9 second bracket. And that basically that 2.5 seconds, that was the difference between him having a chance to come out with those guys and unfortunately losing the draft and being now trying to work with Tom Dixon. But we're going to jump back a bit here though, because look at this little gaggle we've got going on right now, Brandon. Everybody's trying to get reorganized here now that they caught the pack. And I think we're starting to figure out, again, I think we're getting that strategy here where do you push, do you save? Because now this is going to be, again, we're going to have one more pit stop after this one. So this is where you're going to have to kind of figure out that strategy and get the most out of it. So right now, though, we still do have 8 trucks that could vie for the win of this race.
Yeah, and it's really going to come down to what we talked about all year long, and it never really happened. We never ran into the situation. It seemed like every time we got there on Thursdays that there was always the caution that kind of threw a wrench in it. But I think tonight we're going to see it as, like you talked about, they still got 2 pit stops left, and that last one is going to be just for a splash. So as we go all the way back to the start of the race with you talking about them letting Gabe stay out front, that, I think, is where it's really going to come into play, is if you have enough to only take 1 gallon or if it makes you go over and end up taking that second one also. So the 9 and the 55, I think, is right where you talked about, comfortable with letting the 88 lead.
And then there's also going to be, there's a lot of options on how do you want to run these final 2 stops, because, of course, you can run it kind of the road course way where you pit in 5 or 6 laps. And basically you pit as soon as you're in your window for those final 2 stops. But of course, again, the risk is if you don't stay organized and you lose a couple of your drafting partners, then it might cost you extra time. The other option, of course, is to run it out all the way and then take the bare minimum at the very end. Of course, you could do somewhere in the middle of those 2, or pit at the very end and then pit as soon as you're in your window for the final stop. But the idea I had here, Brennan, is maybe what about splitting it evenly, where instead of having an 8-second pit stop and let's say a 2 or 3 second pit stop for that splash at the end, what if you do like a 2 5-second pit stop where you pit with about 25 to go and then with about 15 to go or something like that, where you don't run it all the way out, or you don't run it as soon as you're in the window. You kind of just do 2 shorter pit stops where you don't have the one full, because maybe that would be enough to break away from the field on one of those things. So I'm going to be really curious to see what the strategy is going to be, or do we see these guys not want to risk losing that big pack again, just because of now that we've lost a couple of those guys, where now there's only 8 trucks on the lead lap, 9 trucks in this draft that are a part of it.
Yeah, and I think it's coming into play where these guys are, the fuel is really starting to come into their minds and starting to think about it, because we've seen the 10 and the 071 running that outside lane trying to be up front. They have comfortably dropped in the back, and they're just cruising. So excuse me, I think they're getting in that mind where they said, okay, it's going to be tight. Our plan, we got to save just a little bit, is they're not going to lose the pack or anything like that, and they at least want to make sure that they can be there at the end to help the 88.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that was going to be my concern too, is like, what happens if Gabe pits and then the TW guys behind him don't pit, and then and I look back, it's like, wait, no, Eric Laurie, Justin Davis, they're still there, so he's still got his wingmen to be able to work with there. On the TW side, they still have 3 trucks. They have the 55, the 9, and the 08. Again, the 08's just slightly off sequence from that pit penalty. And then we talked about the Roswell drivers, and they have 3 as well. So really, it's 3 on 3 on 3 right now as they run with the teams here. You got 3 on the Roswell side, 3 on the TW, and 3 on the Bootnocker side. We'll probably add a 4th to Roswell here shortly, because right now Bud Steele in the 6 truck, he's kind of running off in his own again with his pit exit miscue that we saw. And so, yeah, so basically with all of that, at some point he'll get absorbed into this mix and possibly still be able to pit with all these guys as well. So there is a chance to add that 4th truck into the fray on this one as well. And then for Jim Brooks and Tom Dixon, like I said, right now they're about a half a lap back, so there's really no pressure for the field catching those guys. And again, with them running with the 2 of them, the pace it's good enough to hold them off for a while right now. Lap time wise, they are about 2 seconds a lap slower compared to Bud Steele, who's about 4 seconds a lap slower. So that's the difference of just 1 extra truck.
Yeah, and these guys can still somewhat play a part also. So the 51 and their race is not over. We can still get a caution. Some things can still happen. We don't know because these guys, the communication is, it's early in the race. When I race with these guys, you see a lot of hitting their black box, letting everybody know I'm pitting in. As this race starts to creep on, I think the letting somebody know and giving everybody a heads up is going to get a little bit thinner because of the strategy, and that's when the chaos can happen, as we see Gabe up front and his teammates in the back, or the 88 not letting these guys know, hey, I'm coming, or anyone in this pack can cause that chaos. So this race is far from over, and the 51, they still have to be on the same bit of strategy to stay on the lead lap and be able to still compete if there is a caution.
Yep, and so right now, again, looking at the strategy-wise here, Brandon, so everybody pitting around 35, 36 window, so that means they could go to about lap 50. So at that point, these guys can go about 4 to 5 more laps on field to make it to get to their next final stop. Or at this point, about this time, maybe next time by, I would say they're in their window to make it to the end, where, again, if they maybe decide to short pit and pit as soon as they're in the window. But like I said, when you've only got 9 trucks now in this lead pack here, that kind of makes me a little bit more gun-shy to take the strategy. But I do think it's worth it if you're going for the full gamble. Where, like I said, if you're, I don't know about Dean Wilkinson or not, because like I said, he's still relatively close in the points, but if you're one of those ones who's maybe 4th or so in the points on the outside looking in, why not swing for the fences? Say, you know what, let's take the big gamble. It could work great. It could shoot us in the foot, but we got to give it, basically we have to at least give ourselves an opportunity to try it, because maybe we can get that really good in-lap, out-lap, and then lock on and just draft really hard to break that draft. So I'm going to be curious to see if anybody takes that gamble here.
Something that's really, really caught my eye as we went these last couple laps, and we've really been able to focus on the front pack here, is that the 9 isn't in it, but he's the 55's teammate. And if you watch him, he's really been on Gabe's Butler, or on his bumper. He's not really gave Gabe the opportunity to let off a little bit, and Gabe can't let off because he knows the 9 is now pushing him, which is really making Gabe use a ton of fuel. As you can see, the 55, he stayed about a half a truck length back. He's not using all the throttle. He's not got close to Charles at all, as Charles is staying close to Gabe, letting him know that you're not going to be able to let up a little bit, and his speed's only going to pick up as they start to catch this lap traffic of the 6.
Yeah, you can see Bud Steele. He's going to go ahead and jump up top, let the field go on by. That's going to put Bud 1 lap down, which will also now put him in that spot where he's going to have to try to fight the 08 of Bob Fitzgerald, because that'll be that lucky dog battle where if one of them is able to be ahead, if there's a caution again, that would put him in that window. So you can see Ryan Decker there. He's drifting up there just to give Bud a little extra draft, help the top end pull that 6 truck, and then we'll probably see him tuck in right behind the 53 here, coming through 1 and 2. And then, like I said, now he's going to have his eyes fully set on that truck right there, the white and yellow truck of Bob Fitzgerald. But yeah, like I said, we're really close to approaching the pit stops. I'm already watching Nick Wing, Ryan Decker. They've been peeking out a little bit, so I think they're kind of waiting to see, okay, when do we need to put that move like we saw earlier and jump out top here. But I think also, like you said, Brandon, I don't think these guys are going to be calling those pit stops. I think they're going to try to catch them off a little bit, maybe see if they can sneak one or two away from them and kind of split that field up potentially.
And I know this is a real aggressive move, and to win championships, you have to be aggressive. If you're the 9 and the 55 at any point, as we see the 80-80 kind of creeps up a little bit, as it comes to these caution, do you maybe give him a little bump? We seen the bump last week. Do maybe you give him that little bump to push him up a little bit and really keep him on that outside lane? I'm thinking as a driver the whole time, I want to win one of those creative Ranger creative concept trophies. It's beautiful. It's awesome. I seen the one they gave last year, and I want to win one. And do you kind of maybe put Gabe in that position to, hey, you got to drive. We're going to push you here a little bit. We're going to make you uncomfortable.
I think at a track like Atlanta, you can. I don't think you can at Talladega as much, just the way this track runs. But here we go, though. This is, again, one of the next big points in the race here. Everybody's got to nail their pit entries here. And you can see right to the edge there are a couple of those guys. And again, looks like everybody's getting in fairly nice and clean. And so that's one more time here. It's going to, once more here, kind of bring the Roswell guys. And they caught Bud Steele at the perfect time, because now they have that fourth truck to be able to try to help them have that really big in lap that we talk about. As you can see right now, Nick Wing is pushing Ryan Decker for all he has worked. And the other part is, too, is this kind of helps Roswell for the bad luck for Jim and for Bud. Right now, it kind of helps them put things into like the Ryan Decker bucket, if you will. Or it's like, okay, well, right now he's our best chance right now because Jim's 10th and Bud is 9th. Let's go all in on Ryan, see what we can do. And they're going to go an extra lap here. This is pretty impressive as well here, Brandon. They're going to go even one more than those other guys. So we'll see. Again, now it's going to be all about those lap times. They need to be making some really big aggressive laps here to try to have a chance to kind of do that overcut on the F1 terms. Now let's go over to these guys, and pretty well organized, I got to say, but you can see they only have the 3. Dean Wilkinson not quite to the back of the 88 yet, but then you see also the gap here between them and to the 08 of Bob Fitzgerald, Justin Davis, Eric Laurie. And actually, I say that Justin Davis, unfortunately, actually, he lost the draft there. So that's actually one less truck in the mix. It was Bob Fitzgerald that I saw in the background there. So, yeah, these guys are trying to get resettled in here. They won't have their full speed lap yet because they're still building speed up here, and that's what I wanted to watch. But, yeah, here comes the 4 Roswell trucks, though, coming in together.
Yeah, and that whole run, they were in the middle of the pack or towards the back, and they were really keeping that gap so they can go as we've seen, those extra 2 laps compared to everybody else. And now that brings right into what you talked about. Some of these guys are going to have to go a couple extra laps more than these guys, and they can maybe come in and sneak a pit stop out, as we already seen the 88 lose a teammate, so now he only has 1 up there with that 6-car pack.
And I'm watching to see, and you can see pretty well organized for the first 3. Bud just a little back, but should be okay. But now again, we've seen this is where it's been biting a couple guys, and so far so good. But I do wonder for Bud Steele. I think he's maybe a little gun shy. Didn't want to push too hard, and you can see he is several trunk lengths back there behind the 53. So now it's going to be, can these 3 here keep the momentum up? Because here come the other trucks that have finished their pit stop cycle. They could wind up getting rid of Bud here in this whole process as they start to merge up top. That's going to force Charles Johnson take that middle lane. And here comes the big push from Ryan to the back of Nick. And so they're not going to be able to break from the field, but they will catch this draft. And so now for the strategy side of things here, Brandon, if I'm these 3 trucks here, I try to roll. Oh man, big move there by Tom Dixon, to get back there. I roll out a little bit. Make sure you get Bud Steele. You don't want to lose him. He's going to be a huge benefit to you. And I think he is going to safely be able to tag back onto these guys. So now again, though, you see Gabe here. He's now sandwiched between the 2 TW trucks. But again, Gabe, all he cares about right now is if he finishes, I believe, with the magic numbers 4th, nothing they can do will take him away from that spot. So he's got a little bit of wiggle room, but he is, he is the meat in a TW sandwich. You've got TW in front of him with Charles Johnson, behind him with Dean Wilkinson, as well as Bob Fitzgerald and the 411 of Tom Dixon. So right now Gabe's kind of at the mercy of the drivers around him. He's going to be really hoping he can get Eric Laurie back. And then also with all of this that's gone on, I'm looking to see Justin Davis. He's off on his own, about a half a lap back, and they're about to put the 51 truck as well of Jim Brooks 1 lap down. So again, that's going to add another Roswell truck to the mix here as well. So if they can all stay on the same strategy here, that could give Roswell, that would be the full 5 trucks to maybe try to pull some sort of strategy on this final stop coming up in about 6-7 laps. That window opens.
Yeah, and that's definitely, I know Jim has not had the ninth that he wanted to, but it's definitely a blessing for Ryan, that's still in it, and gives you one more truck, so you at least have a chance, because you still, like I said, you never know what can happen. These guys still got a fast repair, but if it's Talladega, this race is not over until lap 75, or we've seen lap 78, or sometimes lap 80, so you got to keep chugging along and hope the chips fall your way. And I like the move Gabe did, though. He was out front that whole time, and he knows this is the part where you need to save maybe a little bit of fuel, a little bit, so you can make your pit stop just a hair shorter. So a veteran move there by Gabe is, we know how clutch he is when it's under 20 to 15 laps to go, the moves he makes. As we seen last week, about 15 to 20 laps to go at Atlanta, that's when he started to make his move, and it paid off. So we can see we're at that same point now.
Yeah, exactly right. You see the 51, he goes ahead and slots in with those guys. And then again, right now the 10 truck just crossed our finish line, so I was trying to base on that to see, is there any potential these leaders could catch him in the time before the next pit stop. Of course, it'll depend on when that pit stop is, but right now, the other thing to mention, all the Roswell trucks, they're all lined up in the back of this group here. So what they could do, other than Eric Laurie, I need to mention, Eric's kind of in that group as well. But what these guys could do is, like I said, they could try to pit as soon as that window's open. Again, I think this is one of those gambles you take, because if it works, you're going to have Nick Wing, Ryan Decker, Quabi Brooks all come in together. And that would be 3 trucks that could possibly cycle ahead of Gabe Butler in the 88 truck. And then possibly, again, during the next cycle, if, let's say, Dean Wilkinson and Charles Johnson can get ahead of him, is that enough positions for Gabe then to be at risk of losing that championship lead to the 48 of Ryan Decker? So there's a lot of strategies that could come out into play on this one. Like I said, of these trucks in this lead pack, 7 are on the lead lap, so you've got a number of trucks a lap down. You got Bob Fitzgerald, Bud Steele, and Jim Brooks all in that position 1 down. Right now, Bob in that lucky dog spot in the 08 truck. And then, of course, we mentioned the 10 of Justin Davis is still on the lead lap, but is off on his own, so only a matter of time before they catch him to put him down a lap. And yeah, right now it's about time for strategy. It's in these next about 3-4 laps to see who's going to blink first.
Yeah, and if you tuned in last week to Atlanta, somebody owes somebody a bump. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're going to have to go back to last week and tune in. But somebody did say somebody owes somebody a bump. So I'm not hoping for anything bad, but I love excitement, and the excitement's getting ready to pick up, because I have a feeling one of these teams are going to have to swing for the fences, and that's short pitting early and trying to gain time and speed on everybody else that way.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I am on that, Brandon, because if you do what everybody else does, that's where you're going to end up. The only chance you have at that point is to try to make a big charge after the pit stops are completed. But I think you put the pressure on the guys and come in early, and then they're like, okay, do we react right away? Do we think that they're organized enough and take that gamble? And so there's 2 trains of thought on this, of course, as well. The fact that the Roswell guys, they did pit 2 laps later, so the more they save now, the less they'll have to take later. So they could shorten that pit stop. But like I said, I think for them, at this point, they need to break the draft. I think that's the way to win this race, is to basically, like I said, get in early, go off strategy, and then try to basically just draft like there's no tomorrow. Take the risk, get that engine hot if you have to, and do whatever you can to break that maybe 1.5-2 second draft window to then see how the chips fall, basically. So like I said, I don't think this time by is going to be the window to do it. I think it'll be next time around that window should officially open. And also we talked about before, I say do not take any extra fuel. You take the bare minimum to make it to a scheduled finish. If there's a green, white, checkered, so be it. Just come right back in and take the fuel at that point. So that's the gamble I take if I'm those Roswell drivers here tonight.
Yeah, I'm the same way. If I'm Charles Johnson, I hop out the way. I hop out the way and I let Gabe go. He's only got one teammate in this pack, and that's the 071, and he's way in the back. Justin Davis is in the middle of turn 2 right now, getting ready to hit the backstretch. Gabe's not going to catch him in time. Give them 2 trucks out there and make them push as hard as they can. Put them in an uncomfortable position, and I think that's the only strategy, the way you can beat the 88 right now. 2 trucks around here is not going to get the job done. You're not going to have enough time, and you're not going to have enough speed, and I don't think they catch up that way. So I'm so shocked not to see the 9 as we see some guys ready to move up. It's going to tell me some pit stops are coming, but do something different from that 88. Put him in a situation where he's got to push his teammates to the extreme and make him uncomfortable, as hard as that is.
And, I think some miscommunication here is I see the 53 on pit road, but by himself. So I think something did not go to plan there. You all see Justin Davis. He's actually just hit pit road. And so, yeah, right now I say I don't know if that was, something seems off on that one. And you can see they're starting to reorganize, get themselves settled back in here. So, yeah, an odd one on this one with the 53. And it looks like he's still sitting on pit road. Maybe, I think he's still actually getting service. Yep, there he goes. So Justin Davis is going to come out a fair bit ahead of him. So that's an odd one. I almost wonder if there was a miscommunication there where we saw those one guys jump up to try to move forward. But then you can see, though, the momentum was there and everything kind of died down. So I almost wonder if that was one of those, like, are we pitting this time or are we pitting next time? And so here you go. They are going to react and come in one more time around afterwards. But is that going to be at that point too much of a gap to try to get the 53 back in the mix on this one? So unfortunately, they may lose one of their teammates with that little bit of a miscommunication. Eric Laurie, now he was at the back of that group, Brandon, so he's going to have to try to chase these guys back down to get back in the draft here. And like I said, this is now the reaction now. Do we see TW immediately react and say, okay, they're calling their shot, let's make sure that they don't have time to organize ahead of us? Or do we just jump in together and or try to break them ourselves and settle amongst themselves? But if you're Gabe, you got to do whatever Charles does, because you just, if you try to pit, they're going to stay out. So I think he's got to be careful here. And they're going to
Yeah, they're going to stay out. That's why I was so shocked the 9 didn't get behind them and let the 88 get in front, and then pitted. The 071 was at the back of the pack. That would have been a lot for Boot Nakateam to really organize, especially with the 10 not being in there. And if you want to beat Gabe, that's how you beat that guy. Is you gotta, when his team, not only him but his team is down, you gotta take advantage of it. And to see them guys still right out of round front, is these guys are starting to get organized now and pass Justin Davis. I just so shocked not to see them make that move and let him lead the race.
Yeah, and you saw there also the 53 was not able to catch them. So, and again, importantly, that gives them one less drafter to work with. So now, we'll watch this lead pack. Do we see again? And here we go. It's going to be a late decision. I think Gabe probably watching his mirrors here. He's getting pretty hot here. But, oh, man, I think that's everything he had on that 88 truck. That did look like a safe entry, though, for Gabe. So that's the next step, is we got to watch the entries and see. I can tell you, I do believe Tom Dixon, unfortunately, actually, no, I'm sorry, Tom's in now. I was looking at the timing and scoring from a previous one. So here all these drivers come and getting it really deep into their pit stalls. And once more, left side tires for, looks like all these trucks. So you mentioned the tire wear. Looks like they're aware of it, and they're going to roll. And there goes Gabe. He's going to get the first truck out of pit road. Now we'll see how is the organization, though, because they've got a little bit of a gap to one another. So we'll see if they can do anything with it here, because at some point we're going to see these trucks here. You can see right now Ryan Decker's trying to do everything he can to push Nick Wing through, but will it be enough to break this draft or not? And right now I'm going to say will not happen, because Gabe already rolling off on the backstretch. I think job done for the first portion of it here if you're the 88, the 55, and the 9. So now it's just going to be the outright brawl here. Once we get to probably about 5 to go, I think we'll start to see those big moves start to get made.
Yeah, and we see it already. Ryan and those guys said, "Hey, let's get to the front. Let's really control this thing and let us be the ones that dictate, where we're gonna go and win." Is that as we see the 28 drop down and take the bottom, it's starting to get tight. The racing's gonna start to pick up. The pushes are gonna get harder, and we got 10 to go.
Yep, and so now what Ryan's trying to do is Ryan's probably got to try to get around his teammate in the 28 truck. But man, look at Gabe though. We talked about these guys, and now Gabe just shoving the 28 for all he's worth. Again, same thing. Gabe just needs to finish top 5-ish, and you can see they are pushing hard right now. Gabe does not want to let his teammate, or doesn't want to let the 28's teammate clear. Right now, it's maybe just enough to make it happen. We'll see. But at the same time, they could do here is if they control both lanes, that's going to kind of pin that 88 down to the inside. So we'll keep an eye on that. Here comes TW, though. They're going to jump to that third lane. They see the bottom and middle clogged up. And they're like, okay, let's go find our own lane here. And they've got 3 teammates locked on that top side here. So we're 3x3 here, Brandon, with 10 to go, coming to 9 to go. We'll see who's able to manage these pushes the best. And, of course, importantly as well, who's going to be able to come out on top here for the win as well as for the championship.
Yeah, and after everything that cycled out, the 88 ended up with both his teammates behind him. So it's so crazy how the chips fall, and these guys still give themselves the best opportunity to win. So hats off to Boonaka for, out of all that pit stop and the 10 losing it, to be able to be right back in this pack and help his team. We're running 3 wide, but I haven't seen much big pushes yet. I think everybody is trying to time and manage when do we go and how quick can we make that run. We see the front 2 guys pushing hard, but I think it's going to pick up, like you said, here in about 3 or 4 laps.
Yeah, right now I think it's figuring out what can you do and win. And yeah, for Gabe, he's in a tough spot. Like I said, it's great because he's got 2 teammates behind him for the 3 of them. But again, though, he's got a Roswell driver who's, again, he wants to win this race. He also, of course, wants to try to help Ryan have a chance to win the championship. But now Ryan's got another problem. That's that Dean Wilkinson was able to clear Ryan Decker in the middle lane. And so now he takes the top spot. So now we'll watch Ryan, though, because he has shoved Dean non-clear. And yep, I was going to ask, can Ryan clear himself to the inside? And the answer is yes. So now move the 48 truck to the inside lane in front of the 28, his teammate, as now the numbers are way larger on the inside than the middle and the outside. So right now, this is the place to be. But there goes Gabe. Saw the momentum, saw the opportunity. He jumps middle. As there goes Ryan. He's going to take the middle spot away from Gabe, knowing that, that's where you want to be. And here come those pushes we just talked about.
Yeah, it's starting to amp up. And I was going to ask you, if you're the 10, the 10 was right there behind Gabe. This is your first season. You're in the playoffs, and you got one of the great. It's going to get tight. He's going to save it. Maybe.
Oh, we got 2 around. Right now, they're still pointing in the right direction. I don't know how those guys held on to those trucks. It's one of those things where being really great car control may not be a good thing in this case, because we will stay green from it. But let's go back here. I'll take a look one more time as it happens here. And you can see there. I wonder if I think that actually may be the 88 and the 48 kind of getting hooked together possibly. And man, that's just some big moves, maybe some blocks happening there as well. And then yeah, Dean goes pretty much 45, almost has it, then catches his teammate in the 9. They both sliding, almost catch Tom Dixon as well. Look at Charles. Oh my goodness. We got to take one more time on that one from Charles's point of view, because Brandon, I don't know how it's physically possible. That truck did not, as I went way too far, or actually I need to go back a little further. I don't know how Charles did not hit this inside wall here. We'll try to get a better angle of this thing. But watch the inside wall. It disappears just at the right time here. So we're watching the 9. There's the contact. And watch as he slides. And then right there, I mean, that's not even a foot difference between them. So we'll jump back live. Here's the battle once more up front, as Ryan Decker still going to control the inside lane. He's got his teammate Nick Wing to his outside lane. But again, though, Gabe Butler, though, he's got his 2 teammates still with him, though. So pretty much it's got the 4 Roswell trucks here. You've got 3 of the boot knockers. But again, we talked about that magic number being about 4th position. There are only 4 trucks in this lead pack. So I think if we stay green, if everybody stays well-behaved, clean, and green, that would put these guys at a spot to be able to do, wouldn't matter what they do. But look at the organization. Look at the Bootknockers. Said, yep, I don't want to be pinned to the inside. Let me get to that middle to the outside lane. See if we can do something here, because right now the 6 and the 51, those trucks are trapped a lap down at the moment. So you can see all the reorganization going on here. The 88's got to the middle. He's got the 071. He's going to have the 10 here shortly. And so, yeah, so everybody's just trying to work that organization, trying to do the scheduling here, or the strategy here, to put themselves in a position to try to win this race. So a lot of chess moves being made right here, Brandon.
Yeah, and I think Gabe may have got, the same confirmation. I haven't seen him really be on the back of anybody's bumper, and I think he's in the same boat. Let's just survive. I don't need to win the race. I can win the championship without winning the race. Of course, it would be awesome to do both, but I think he understands, hey, let these guys, their teammates in front of me, let them push each other, and I really don't have to push the issue, and hopefully these guys in front don't tear anything up or overheat.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the thing is, at this point it's gonna be no mistakes. I'm gonna look at the top of Eric Lorry's truck. Yeah, you see right there, a little right rear crinkle to the 88 truck. That's no worse for her. He'll be fine with that, but just a little bit of damage on that one. Then we got to go back to those two that made the huge save. And you can see they've all found each other as well. Dean Wilkinson, Charles Johnson, Bob Fitzgerald there, and Tom Dixon all together here. So, but unfortunately, they're about 7 seconds back. So right now, we're 3 to go. And again, we talked about once the white flag comes out, at that point, the race is official. But of course, these guys are going to still battle out to the end. There goes Gabe, a little bit of contact, another big bump there. Ryan is going to try to do everything he can to hold on here, but he's going to have to be having a very wide truck. And as I say that, there goes Gabe, makes a huge turn. Oh, we got trouble contact in the back here. That's going to bring the caution out here between the 10 and the 6. And that is going to throw a huge wrench into the strategy of this one, with Justin Davis, Bud Steele making contact. But the beneficiary of this all, going to put him right back into the mix here to try to win this race. It's going to be the 51 of Jim Brooks, but let's go back. Let's find that contact one more time here between that 6 and the number 10 trucks. As you can see, we'll see them here on the outside lane here. And I think it's one of those ones where we're probably trying to follow each other through. You can see the 6 in the middle. There's the 10. So we'll watch Eric Lorry here. He's going to drop to the inside. And then, yeah, you can see right there, I think Justin Davis was trying to go through as well. And I think that's his 2 drivers fighting for the same real estate on that one. So we'll watch, make sure Jim Brooks, does he get through unscathed? And I'm going to say yes, he does on that one. So, yeah, wave round should go to that 51 truck. And this also brings right back into the mix as well. Dean Wilkinson now back in the main pack on the lead lap. Add Charles Johnson back into the mix here. Add Quabi Brooks as well. He had not got lapped yet, so he's back into this lead pack. So, yeah, it's going to be all to play for here in just a moment.
Yeah, and we got the 88, and this is going to maybe put some people in some fuel. I know they're probably going to come down.
I say I pit.
Yeah, but I would assume maybe some guys, as hard as they was racing, it could have been on the bubble. So, pit road either is still closed, or some guys are saying, I'm not giving up track position.
Yeah, this is a track position strategy right now because, yeah, the top 4 stayed out. It's going to be the TW guys all coming in. I think this is the right call. I like this strategy, honestly, to have the extra fuel because, again, this is going to be a green-white checkered attempt at this point. This will be attempt number 1. If we get another one, will they be out of that fuel window? So I like the idea here. Again, it's not a huge field. There's only, I believe, going to be now 8 trucks on the lead lap. We should see the 51 swing on by. There he goes, put himself back in the lead lap. I think I take the fuel regardless because right now, the guys that pitted, Dean Wilkinson's going to be the first out. He's going to restart 5th. Like, it's not going to be a huge detriment. So if if they had scheduled it where, okay, let's have Ryan and Nick pit, they'd come out 3rd and 4th. So the only thing this does do is it turns it into a straight team lineup here because you'll have Gabe on the inside, you'll have Eric Lorry behind him, and then you'll have Ryan Decker to the outside and Nick Wing behind him, with then 2 TW drivers going to be side by side there, and then we'll see where the 51 and the 53 line up with each other. So yeah, it's going to be, and again, they're going to have to get really quick right onto the bumpers and make some aggressive pushes and probably see some more big aggressive blocks going here as well.
Yeah, and I think, unfortunately, hopefully Bud just had to take a tow. I don't know if he was in that earlier caution. I still see him sitting on pit road. That's not what you want to see if you're Ryan or, Nick or any of those guys up there, as you see the 51 coming back in and topping back off. You want as many teammates as you can at this last restart. So hopefully Bud just had to take a tow and he's not out of this. So, but I also like the move of 55 and them guys coming in and getting those 4 tires. It may not seem like a bunch, but these guys were out there these last couple laps bouncing all over, top lane, bottom lane, big pushes, and we've seen them on these last couple stops. They've really came in and maybe burn them up a little bit, so them guys are going to need that outside lane to pass. So I really, really like that move by the 55 and the 9.
No, I think it's a good strategy for those two. So, like I said, you're going to have teammates lined up in the first 2 rows, so that's going to be ideal for both of those guys. Like I said, then you'll have teammates lined up side by side in row number 3, and then you'll have Justin Davis as well, again, on the inside row. So you're going to have some teammates pretty well organized here. I can't tell you, you mentioned Bud Steele, he's rolling out of pit road now, so I think, yeah, it may have been a tow for the 6 truck as he's rolling out now. So he should be able to catch the field here, and then we'll get back into it. And so it's kind of a perpetual 3 laps left right now because the caution came out with, I believe, 2 or 3 to go. And so what happens there is it turns it into a green-white checkered window. So what'll happen here is there's 2 attempts. So this is be attempt number 1. And so what'll happen is they'll take the green flag, and if they get to the white flag at that point, it's an official race, and they'll race it back to the checkered. However, if there's another caution that comes out before they get to that white flag, they'll rack them up again. They'll do that second and final time, and then you'll see that 3 to go show up again on the timing and scoring there as well. And however, if they can't get through either of the 2 green-white checkers, the second caution would be at the time of the yellow is thrown. That would be the field's frozen, and that would be the order of the finishing position. So it's been pretty rare we've seen that happen, Brendan, but crazier things have definitely happened before. So these guys, again, job number 1, I think they want to try to get to that white flag and then race it out amongst themselves. But like I said, there was 4 cars vying for the win of that race with everything that happened. Now we got double that. We got 8 trucks that could win this race here. And that's not in a safety spot anymore for that 88 truck. So this is going to start to get a little dicier, and we'll see who can kind of lock on the best here on this attempt number 1.
Yeah, Ryan Decker said his heart is pounding. Hey, fellas, remember, don't be that guy that wakes up tomorrow morning saying, I should have made that move. Leave it all on the track. Have that trophy sitting on the mantle. Take down this 88. No, I'm not picking any sides, but I love an underdog story, and I know it's about to amp up, and somebody owes somebody a bump, and it's about to be exciting, Gael.
We've seen a couple bumps already earlier in this one, but yeah, this is pretty much here. It's like, again, you got one more potentially in here, but this is probably going to be your best opportunity to try to get a win and try to win this championship. So again, Gabe's the control car on the inside lane. Then he's got Ryan Decker next to him. As here you hit the restart zone, we are back underway. You can see already drivers trying to get themselves organized with one another. And here you go, big push there. You see the TW drivers, they've locked onto each other as well. And they're add another one to the mix there with Tom Dixon. Watch that third lane. Yeah, there you go. There's going to be the 55 and the 9 at the 411 here shortly. And then we'll find the rest of the teammates because we're just going to have a giant team battle here, I think is what we're going to see. So you'll see, yep, there's Gabe, though. He's going to block the middle there, try to keep the momentum down. Look at Nick Wing trying to squeeze the middle there, try to get in between them, make it 4 wide. And now Ryan's going to have to find a move. But while they're fighting amongst themselves, Dean Wilkinson takes the point.
Yeah, amazing restart there by the 9 and 55. They gave about a little bit of half Carling strategy, the old Dale Earnhardt Jr. strategy, get a little bit off, let's get our team together, and they got a good run on that outside to get them in the position they are now. Now as we come to 1 to go, Gael, nobody's lifting.
No, but I say first they got to get to the white, and it looks like they will. So this is the final lap of the race. Right now, Ryan Decker is pinned. There's not a lot he can do here. So he's going to have to find a way to move around here. And is it going to be to try to slow down a little bit and get out from behind Gabe? So right now, Ryan's in between a rock and a hard place, though, because he can't move up because he's got Dean and Charles there. But here goes Nick Wing. Nick's going to see if he can spoil this one, just grab a win, regardless if he can't if he can't get a teammate the championship. I'm going to go win this race. So watch the 28 here is now the inside line. Big surge there. Can Ryan clear the 88? I think he can move middle if he wants to, but it's going to close tight. And there he goes. He's going to hop in front of Dean. Dean's going to try to ditch him. And here we go. Here's going to be the brawl to the finish here as he got the 88 inside, Ryan Decker in the middle, Dean Wilkinson on the outside. but it looks like it is going to be the win and the championship going to that 88 of Gabe Butler. Got in front of Eric Laurie, worked their magic, and it is going to be that 88 finishing the season in style with the win and the title.
Awesome run to the 88, but Gael, can we back it up and can we check on Nick Wing? I think he ended up outside of the track somehow. Holy moly, what a ride for the 28.
So you can't even see him right there. He is on with Bob Fitzgerald. They make contact, and then, he's going to make an abrupt exit towards pit road. And, there goes the 28 truck up and over there. And we'll see if he lands back on the wheels. But, man, that thing, no, he went for a ride on this one there. And, he's going to take a tumble here, unfortunately. And, he's ending that race in the season in style, but obviously not the way he'd want to finish this one up.
No, definitely not. But how did the 88 and the 071 out of all that chaos manage to find each other? Hats off to the Bootnaka guys for look at them all on the bottom row together, and hats off. I know Gabe won the championship, and I don't want to take nothing from him, but hats off to the 10 of Justin Davis. His first season up here running, and he had that little incident with Bud Steele, but came back and finished strong and helped his team, and hats off to Bootnaka for pulling in another one.
Yeah, I mean, again, you could see, everybody was gunning for him. They just couldn't quite get it there at the end. But an amazing job by all those guys to pull off the way they did there. And like I said, obviously, we know based on the points where they were going into it, but with him getting the win, obviously officially clinches that championship tonight for that number 88 truck. As I can't even see the truck now, there he is. As he's going to get the win there, and he's going to extend that championship lead by a fair bit there, 16 in the end over Dean Wilkinson. Ryan Decker does jump Jim Brooks to third in points, Jim fourth, and Bud Steele winds up fifth overall at the end of the season there. But, like you said, though, just the organization, they were able to find each other there at the end was just pretty phenomenal there.
Yeah, great finish, great season. I mean, could you really ask for much more? We've seen it all this year. We've been shocked every single week. Every time we thought we had something figured out, these guys were able to just throw a wrench in it and keep us on our toes and make us watch to all 75 laps, because if you turned away, you were going to miss something. And hats off to all the drivers. Only one person can win it, but we can't do this without everybody. And what a great season. And run through this rundown and get some guys up here. I know we're going to have some bum guys and some excited guys, so I'm excited to talk to them.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see the thoughts after the race, though. So it's Gabe Butler getting the win there with the 1-2 with Eric Laurie locking on right behind him. And then Ryan Decker, like I said, he gave everything he could, but Gabe was able to just kind of sneak in front of him there and kind of protect that inside line, had the outside pretty covered up there for the end. But he still does grab a third. And then Charles Johnson and Dean Wilkinson, we saw them make that outside lane work, just couldn't quite get there at the end. And then Jim Brooks, Quavi Brooks, lead lap finishers there, 6th and 7th. Nick Wing ending it in style, doing some acrobatics there in that number 28 truck, unfortunately. Not the way you want to end the season, but still brings home in 8th. And then Justin Davis, who mentioned, lapped down earlier along with Bob Fitzgerald. And then Bud Steele, Tom Dixon, tough nights for them in 11th and 12th. And that burnout I don't think, went as far as Gabe was planning to. That motor already popped there. So I'll say he's going to need a little bit more burnout practice, but we won't tell him that because that's just to make him go win more. So let's go find some drivers, Brandon. We're going to kick it off with our third place finisher in the race and in the points. And that is number 48 of Ryan Decker. So let's go ahead and pull Ryan on in over here. And Ryan, I mean, you gave everything you had. You were throwing some big moves and trying to keep trucks pinned behind you, and then Gabe at one point there at the very end, of course, was able to kind of pin you down to the inside to push him, and pretty much you didn't have anywhere else you could sneak that truck around there. But I mean, just take us through the race, the strategies, because obviously prior to that late yellow, it was going to be a tough one regardless to try to do something there, but obviously, you could tell you gave it your all there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I knew going in I had to make some moves there with the small, truck field, and I think I was 10 points behind. I think Jim was 11 points behind. So, I mean, if I won, there's five, and then hopefully Gabe had something or lost connection or did something or something like that. But oh well, not a bad night. I think we pretty much run and save fuel and kind of get a lap or two ahead and with. Because we had the cars as far as teammate wise, we had trucks as well, the numbers at least. But I mean, we had a few mishaps. I think Jim messed up on pit road or coming out of pit road. I think Bud messed up once, and then I think there was a little miscommunication between us and Quavi as far as on what lap we wanted to pit and stuff like that. I mean. But once we made that last pit stop and got out to the front, got out to the lead, had pretty much most of the teammates around me, and we were sitting pretty. And then Gabe decides to drop back and pick up his teammate, which is a smart move. I mean, you got to. And then he makes that run on the outside, and then after that, we get a couple cautions, and then me and Nick. I mean, me and Nick gave it our all there, but I mean, once Gabe got clear, I was like, well. Here it goes. I'm shoving the crap out of Gabe until the last. And then that run we had down the backstretch, I think me, Gabe, and Eric behind me. Like Eric gave me one hell of a shot. That was awesome. We just shot we had way too much momentum. And then I was like, leave me the middle, because I think Nick or Bud was in the third lane at the time. But once we got out, coming out of four, and I was clear of that middle lane. I had to take a shot there to try to win it, but lost help coming out of four. I mean, of course, Dean and Charles, they ain't gonna push whenever Dean has a shot to win a championship. So, but Eric, and that left Eric and Gabe together. So, good win for Gabe. Congrats on the championship for him and his team. I mean. He did an awesome job all season. So,
Yeah, Ryan, I know this is not how you wanted the night to end, but I heard from the YouTube chat that we're gonna lose you because of Fridays, and that really stinks. Hopefully, we still see you on Sundays. But with only running you missed one race. You were tied second for most top fives, tied for first for most top tens. And 1 point out of finishing, second, couple points of first. What do you take from this season, man? You were really good all year long. Had some bad luck at a couple tracks, but a lot of second place finishes. I mean, what do you take from this, and what do you tell somebody new maybe that's coming into our Friday league?
Take your time, learn the guys. I mean, find a team, find a group of guys that you want to run with, and you can learn a lot from a lot of these guys, because biggest thing is team matters in this league, and be respectful and have fun, because most of these guys here are absolutely amazing. I mean, we have our little spits and spats, every once in a while, but for the most part, man, it's awesome running in this league. It's a clean league. I mean, I'd like to see a whole hell of a lot more trucks. It'd be nice. But we just didn't have the car count on Thursdays, so I understand why they moved it to Fridays. I mean, so hopefully we get some more, and I mean, hopefully I can kind of sneak in there, a little bit here and there, maybe on off weeks of football or something like that, or whenever Caitlin will let me. Hopefully I can sneak down here and run at least one or two races, a Friday or something.
Well, I mean, she could skip the football games and just race in your place too. I mean, I think she's got something there.
Well, there's a little bit, but it's quite comical to see her on this thing every once in a while. But yeah, no, whenever she first started, woo, it was a sight to see. But I mean, who knows, if she wants to, she can come down there and hop on it and take it for a spin every once in a while.
All right, well, we'll have our people reach out to your people, and we'll see if we can make it happen. But again, Ryan, I mean, like I said, it was a tough one to go after. Obviously, like I said, with the car count wasn't enough where you'd have to have something really bad happen to make it happen. But definitely love the gambles, and like I said, we were wondering, is someone going to try to roll the dice and try maybe do the breakaway? And so, yeah, I thought that was definitely the way to go to give it a try. And you never know how it's going to turn out if they make any mistakes that lets you guys sneak on by. So I definitely applaud you for the attempt and the gamble. Like I said, you never know how it's going to work out. So yeah, it was a hell of a charge by you guys to give it a try. Like I said, just a little short, but of course, nothing to hang your hat on that one. So before we let you go, though, for the season, definitely want to give the floor any thanks and shouts for that runner-up, or sorry, for the podium tonight in this race.
Yeah, no, you're used to me finishing second right behind Gabe, right?
I know, right?
But yeah, no, I mean, you got to thank the wife and family and everybody. Thank all the teammates, Jim, Jack, Nick. Well, Jack wasn't here today. Sucks not having them there. Quabi, having him in there. 40 Racewear, Whiplash Sim Cams, Frank Rangers, Creative Customs. I mean, Gabe, you better enjoy that nice, lovely trophy you get, because I don't know how many more you got left in you. But yeah, I'd like to thank y'all guys for putting on the broadcast Area 51 Green White Checkered, man. Y'all stick with us day in and day out, even through the bad times, the good times, and everything else like that. And then everybody watching, and then all the drivers in this league, man. I mean, hopefully Fridays, cars or whatever, or trucks or whatever they move to, hopefully they race a lot like this, but with more people. So just my hat's off to all y'all guys. All right.
Nah, great job tonight, Ryan. It's always a pleasure watching you do what you do, and look forward to seeing you. Hopefully it's at least still on Sundays. Like I said, we still got that one should stay put. So definitely look forward to any chance we get you on the track. It's always a good time, man. So great job this evening, and yeah, great job all season long, man.
All right. Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, Brandon. That is Ryan Decker, who finishes third in the race, third in the points. Then we're going to jump one spot forward in the race result, and that is going to be the Juan Deere machine of Eric Laurie. Eric, we're trying to figure out at what point, how did we get you back where you found Gabe again? Because unfortunately, it seemed like points you and Justin just kind of got hung out to dry where you couldn't get to Gabe. But then when it was go time there at the end, you found him, and you guys were able to stay locked on, and you're able to kind of, I know obviously job one, knowing you guys, was to make sure that Gabe stayed safe to try to get the win here tonight. But I mean, just take us through just how tough was it tonight because of just not being able to really get to him throughout the race, despite you qualifying in fourth. It just seemed like you kind of got hung out on the outside for a good chunk of that run tonight.
Yeah, I was just playing patient and everything on that, and cautions ended up one way or the other, and there at the last run there, I ended up behind Gabe.
It was a heck of a run. I was keeping my eye all around the track, and I seen you guys fade to the back, and then you made your way back to the front. What keeps you calm like that to understand the patience that you need to have to be for your teammates? And a question, was Gabe kind of like a leader tonight? Really helping. Justin's new to the playoffs in his first championship race. How much was Gabe kind of orchestrating things, if he was at all?
There's a few things said. He's really good at on the field run stuff like that and tires, no tires, stuff like that. And there at the end, he said, "You ready, Eric?" Well, let's go.
I mean, obviously, you guys are very familiar with each other. Obviously, and of course, in front of you, you saw lots of big moves being made with kind of trying to control the lanes. I mean, say we're watching right now where you kind of get left on your own on the inside lane when he goes to block momentum on the top. And then yeah, you see Nick trying to squeeze the middle between you guys. I mean, yeah. So there's a lot of moves being made, obviously. But then in the end, he was able to find his way back to you, and you were able to work your magic there to give him the pushes he needed at the end to stay in front and kind of stay out of harm's way to be able to get the win. So, I mean, obviously you want to go for these titles yourself. I'll say just unfortunately the schedule, let's say this season didn't go great for you on Thursday nights, Sunday nights, obviously still in the playoffs over there. I mean, how hard is it to maybe turn off the competitive side of wanting to do everything you can for your own championship versus, okay, I'm not in it, so is it easy to say, okay, since I'm not in it, it's easy to work with Gabe and make sure he can kind of clinch it, or how do you balance that part there too?
Well, I think I'm so far points out. I don't think I have any run on that one there. But the next thing would be help Gabe or teammate.
All right. Well, I say we know the selflessness of you guys and the team. I mean, it's I say it's been apparent, and that's why you guys have been as talented as you are, and so tough to beat. So, but Eric, I'll say well to see if there's any new sponsorship opportunities there, or if Juan's decided to stay dedicated to you through the years here. But man, it's always a pleasure having you in these races. Definitely looking forward to seeing you finish out the Sunday series, of course, as well, and then looking forward to bringing you back after a little bit of an off season here again as well. So before we let you go, though, definitely want to give you the floor. Any thanks and shouts for that runner up tonight.
I want to give a shout out to Gabe. Congratulations. I want to thank you guys for what you guys do. The sponsors that all help us out too and doing all this. It's really a pleasure racing with Area 51, and I'm coming back next season to do it too.
I'll be excited to have you back. Great job again, Eric. Look forward to seeing you finish it out on Sunday night, and then we'll catch you here once we get back from the break.
All right, you guys have a good night.
You too, sir. All right, Brandon, that leaves us one driver left to chat with, and he is popped right there in front, and that is going to be the 88. And we're like, Gabe just needs to finish 4th or 5th if it's Dean that wins the race. And Gabe's like, nah, I'm just going to win this thing because it's more fun to win the race and the championship together. But Gabe, before we stop giving you a hard time on that one, I'm looking at the numbers, man. You came alive come playoff time, because I know you missed a race or two because you selfishly went on vacation, but I mean, you started off with a 10th, a 9th, a 9th, a 14th, then you get the win at Daytona, and then 11th and 11th. So you make the playoffs, obviously not the way you results you were hoping for, but then you get the 4 playoffs races, 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 1st. I mean, I know you're not doing this on purpose or anything. That's like, are you aware how much the light switch kind of changed for you after when the playoffs took over here on Thursdays?
Well, yeah, a little bit. I mean, I was looking to get there in the first place, I think. And then, I mean, everybody, kind of starts from zero, and then you really got to go for it each race. You can't be kind of sitting around. I mean, it's kind of, if you fall too far back, it's kind of really difficult with the winner getting 5 points. So the goal is to try and finish as best you can, hopefully in the top 3, top 5, something like that, and be as consistent as you can. And if you're lucky enough to get a win, then so be it. And I think I was lucky enough to get a couple of wins, especially tonight, man. Wow.
Congratulations, Gabe, on a championship and the win. And I spoke to Eric, and we brought it up in the broadcast. I just assumed, just being, driving with you guys and hearing you through the interview, that tonight you would have kind of had to be like a coach kind of way, not just a player or a driver. You kind of got to be a coach to, help your team. And especially, we brought up at the end, hats off to Justin, a really good run this year. And how was that, with a new driver and mistakes, happening in the race? And how do you guys stay calm as a team and prevail the way you did? You guys all ended up at the end on the bottom together.
Yeah, that worked out really sweet, and I have to give credit to Eric and Justin. I mean, he made the playoffs for his first season at Area 51, so that in itself was a great accomplishment on his part. And he knows what he needs to work on, and we are more than glad to help him tweak some of his stuff. So I think he did great, and obviously Eric's always been there. He was a little bit far out of the points as far as the championship goes, but I mean, he stepped up to the plate again and was able to give me a shot there at the end. And Justin was able to find his way down where 3 of us were on the bottom and just had a train going. So again, I'll say it till I quit iRacing, but you're nothing in super speedways without your teammates. And yeah, I won the championship, but again, to me, it's team championships, that simple. And really delighted Justin was able to be a part of it.
Yeah, the fact that he's able to hop in, like you said, first season and be able to make the playoffs in the first place was, and I mean, he's still able to grab all the way up to 7th in the championship as well. And so, like I said, against some pretty tough company. So, yeah, and like I said, I mean, it's only going to get more and more comfortable for him, get more familiar with you and with Eric, and of course also with Everett. So it's really cool to see that, and like you mentioned, yeah, the team side, because if it's just you and Eric tonight, I mean, it's probably a different scenario possibly if you don't have the extra help at times. Despite everybody's best efforts of keeping the three of you separated there for most of the race. And then the one thing I did want to bring up was, I don't know if you were able to see it from your end, but actually no, you did see it because you had a really close call there. Was we had two drivers really had a tough time kind of getting out of pit road. Is like the rears just, I don't know if it was they got too hot on entry and so they were still angry at the tires, but they just stepped out from them on throttle there on the exit. I mean, was that something that you noticed on your end, that maybe you had to pedal it a little bit on pit exit?
Well, on the first pit stop, we said, let's just not take any tires, and I should have known better because the first 3 or 4 pit stalls are really slick, and you have time to take lefts, but we decided not to, and my God, I was spinning them, and I had to pop it down into second, and I was still spinning it. So from then on, we decided to take lefts, and I'm just wondering if those guys that had that issue didn't take left side tires and maybe got in the gas a little bit too hard and fast and ended up spinning out. But yeah, after that first one, we kind of learned our lesson. We took tires the rest of the way, left sides.
And yeah, so were there any change of shorts when you saw that green and black carbon fiber truck kind of spearing in your direction there?
You talking about your dad?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I thought he had it saved, and then he started rolling onto the track, and I'm like, I meant to say it in game to, like, car coming up on track or watch out, and I just ended up saying in Discord to Eric, because I think Eric was behind me, I just said, or Dean, one of them, I just said, watch out, and we were able to get around. I think Eric actually got tagged in that one, and then the second one, we could see him rolling down the track. I'm not sure who that was, but they rolled down the track, so that wasn't as bad as the one. Yeah, your dad gave us a bit of a heart attack, to answer your question.
Yeah, no, that was, yeah, Brandon and I were watching, and yeah, it was 2 trucks that had it happen, that, and we're pretty sure that, I think it was fuel only, Brandon, we had decided on both of those, and yeah, like I said, that first one was one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, there's a lot that can change in a very small amount of time, where even if you're leading the race in those situations. So that's what we always talk about. You can't take any of these things for granted because you just never know how it's going to flip. So, yeah, man, it's always a blast watching you do what you do. We were watching, obviously, you and Ryan just throwing the moves to try to be the one to lead the field and control the race there at the end. And you obviously were able to make the really big move at the end to jump in front of him on the inside lane, which then kind of forced him there to be pinned between you and then the TW guys on the outside or in the middle lane at that point. So, I mean, obviously, I'm sure at the end they're kind of, I wouldn't say gloves off, but I know you enjoy racing really, really hard there, but still clean in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy the hard racing, but I mean, I do have to apologize to Dean because on lap 69, I think it was, I tried to get up in front of him on the third side, and we all ended up getting checked up, and I think he spun. He was able to save it. So thankfully, that caution came out where he was able to get back in with a chance for the championship. And Dean is just top class guy. He came into Discord afterwards, and I apologized to him, but he also said, congratulations, well done, and all that good stuff. So, I mean, credit to the league. Most of the drivers, if not all of them, are all really, really, really good guys and fun to race with. And the guys that came out tonight, we're glad to have them out, and we look forward to a lot more people on next season with the Friday and Sunday series coming up. It sounds like that's going to be really a blast.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a good crowd coming into this next one. Yeah, so gave us like I said, we know you're good at these things, but at the same time, we always enjoy having the chats with you because it's always fun watching everything you do, and then the many different ways you're able to pull these things off. So before we let you go and enjoy it, as always, got to give you the floor. Any thanks and shouts for that win tonight, as well as that championship.
Yeah, obviously, Team Boot knock all the guys that came out during the season, and a huge shout out to Eric and Justin tonight. Tremendous help. Couldn't have done it without them, obviously. And again, all the drivers that came out this evening, and Area 51 in general, the admins, the league, it's always a blast running here, and you guys up in the boot, Gael and Brandon, you guys do a fantastic job. It's great going back and watching these races and listening to your guys' thoughts on all that stuff. And yeah, so we'll look forward to next year. And also thanks to Frank Ranger for Ranger Creative Concepts Whiplash. What is it? Whiplash SimCam?
Simcams, yep.
Yeah, and 4D Racewear. I've got a pair of their shoes that I won last year or the year before, and I love them. They're fantastic to help me go fast.
Yeah, so I've been doing more endurance racing. I'm gonna be reaching out to Jim pretty soon on that as well. But Gabe, again, always fun watching you battle out and go for these things. And I'll say, like I said, if they're gonna want to win these titles, they're gonna have to beat the best, and I feel like you are definitely one of those. So congrats again for tonight. Good luck for Sunday night. I know you're going after that one as well. I think that one's really tight on the point, so it's gonna be fun to see how those all pan out. So great job tonight, man. Go enjoy this one. We'll catch you in a few nights' time.
All right, gentlemen, have a good evening. Thank you.
All right, Brandon, that is our race winner and series champion in that number 88 of Gabe Butler. And again, I mean, and just what I said, if you want to win this title, you're going to have to beat the best. And how do you beat the best when they have a first, a second, and a third in a 4-race span? I mean, once it was go time, like I said, it's not that he wasn't trying before, but man, it clicked there on that one.
Yeah, and he gets it, and it's also he gets it, and he gives all that knowledge back. Just these guys are already looking forward ahead. You know, when he brought up Justin, that these guys, they know what they need to work on. They're gonna work on it. You know, they're focused, and he gave credit to his teammates and how important it is, and they're locked in, and they're so willing to, and Gabe especially is willing to give that knowledge to anybody. And so if you're not getting that, and you're you know, you want to come join or race with anybody, these guys are willing to open their doors to you and learn from you. And Justin really turned his season around when he joined with them guys. He came in as a solo. Gabe and them opened the door, and like you brought up in the interview, he played a big part in his championship, and he learned from it, had good runs, and to be a rookie, make the playoffs, and run the way he did, I still just can't say enough about Justin Davis and the run he had.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what he's able to do. I didn't ignore you, by the way, Seth, on my favorite paint scheme for the season. I don't know. There's a lot that are always good. I mean, I'm kind of partial to the Nick Wing Havoline one, since it's just such a good iconic scheme. I know I'm not allowed to choose the 51 schemes. That's one I painted, so it's a little bit too much bias there. But yeah, Brandon, so I mean, he's going to try to go for another one here on Sunday night, but he's going to have to do some climbing on that one, because it's Ray Rittenauer with a 3-point lead over Ryan Decker, 8 points over Gabe Butler, Joshua Highball only 15 out, and then Eric Laurie 17 out. So again, that series has a lot more car count, so it's going to be a little tougher for those guys on that one. They won't be able to just ride around. That's going to be one that they're gonna have to be a little bit more aggressive, take maybe some more risks here, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see who comes out on top on that one. So definitely stay tuned for that one. That'll be on Sunday night, and then we'll have a little bit of a break before we get back into our season 2 coming up. Like I said, there'll be more info posted on the Area 51 Discord. And, of course, you can find more info on the league at area51iracing.com. So, Brandon, always a pleasure doing these with you, man. So we've got one more to go on Sunday, and then we'll be able to see what the plans are going to be going forward with the Friday and Sunday night changes that we're going to be having on the league side. Cars, I believe, staying the same, but we'll see if anything else changes to kind of just add a little bit more to the league. I think there's some discussions going on, but nothing official yet. So, yeah, everybody that watches, supports us here on Green White Checker TV, everybody chatting in on YouTube, obviously Seth and Caitlin and everyone, Dean, really appreciate all of you guys popping in there. And also, of course, had a few new faces and their chat as well, which is always fun. I know Jasper's popped in here and there, and then we had the cool Daddy 313. So appreciate you guys popping in. And yeah, any questions, anything like that, definitely feel free to ask. We'd love to kind of help things out if you're still learning about speedway racing, and so what we're here for. So Until next time, as always, everybody, take care, stay safe, have a good night. We'll see you on Sunday.